What's going on, ProGuides family? My name is Dan, and today we are going to be taking a look at some of the recent changes to the operator in patch 1.09. As I'm sure you guys have seen, Riot decided to hit the operator with quite a few nerfs, and so playing with the operator is going to be a bit different from previous patches. Before we head into all the operator's new changes, you guys know what time it is. It is, of course, time for our question of the day. Today's question is, do you think that we're going to see a significant drop in the operator's performance, or do you think it will stay steady? Personally, I think these changes nerfed a very specific type of operator user, though the price increase definitely affects everyone. Be sure to let us know in the comments down below what you think about the operator, and with that out of the way, let's get into the video. First up, we need to take a look at the changes made to the operator this patch. For those of you who want to see all the changes that came out with patch 1.09, be sure to check out our tier list video we posted yesterday. Alright, so the operator has had its price increased from 4,500 credits to 5,000 credits. This is obviously an attempt to prevent teams from having too many ops on the field, as that was definitely a problem for a lot of ranked games at any rank. Along with that, they also hit the op with a decreased movement speed while scoped, decreasing from 76% movement speed to 72%. The weapon's dead zone for accuracy was also made tighter, from 30% movement speed to 15%. This means that you need to be moving at 15% to become accurate with the operator, as opposed to the slightly faster 30%. The fire rate of the gun was also reduced from 0.75 shots per second to only 0.6 shots per second. The instant equip time, which is the amount of time it takes for a weapon to re-equip after tapping an orb or spike plant, was increased from 0.3 to 0.5 seconds. Finally, the leg shot damage on the operator was reduced from 127 to 120. Personally, I really like this last change, as now if you only have light shields, you don't have to worry about dying in one bullet even if they hit you in the legs. Giving people with light armor a chance to survive an operator shot was definitely a good move on Riot's part. While it definitely seems that the operator has taken a hit this patch, and it has, there is a bit more to this story than meets the eye. While the operator definitely saw a lot of nerfs coming to different parts of the weapon, when we break it down, we can actually see that Riot was targeting one very specific usage of the op that they wanted to stop. If you guys have been keeping up with the professional Valorant scene, then I'm sure by now you know of the name Wardell. He is the opper for TSM and one of the most aggressive players with that gun in the game. He will peek angles and remove enemies from the round before they even have a chance to react, and use the operator in such a fluid way that it feels like a vandal in his hands. With all these changes, it seems that Riot really wanted to prevent this exact type of playstyle from becoming too prevalent. The movement speed, dead zone, rate of fire, and even the equip time adjustments all target this aggressive, hyper-attentive style of opping. It seems like Riot is really wanting to push the operator in the direction of being a stationary weapon that you will have to deal with when you peek an angle, not the operator peeking you. As it stands right now, the operator can still be used as an aggressive option. You just need to be more understanding of its limitations and know it is not going to be as effective as before. I wouldn't say that Riot killed aggressive opping, but they definitely toned its power way down. If you're looking to figure out how to fix your playstyle to fit that of the new operator, then why don't you come over to ProGuides.com? We have a suite of amazing coaches that can help you improve at any aspect of the game. Whether you're looking to brush up on your operator skills, go over a new practice routine, or even just 1v1 a pro to learn a few new things, we got you covered. If you're a player that uses the operator quite a bit, don't fear, as there are still definitely some ways and areas that you can play aggressively if that is still how you want to play. The main thing to keep in mind with this new op is that you're going to need to rely more on utility to make sure that you are safe while peeking or playing aggressive. Whereas before, you could get away with dry peeking an angle because the operator was just that good. Now, if you try to peek without some sort of cover or a flash, you might lose your head before you can get a shot off. Focus on finding long angles with lots of cover. Think like mid or catwalk on ascent, top of mid on split, or C-long and A-long on haven. These angles or lines of sight allow for long-range engagements and also provide enough cover to dart back and forth while taking your shots. One that we definitely don't recommend relying on is close-range opping. This was always a very difficult technique to master, and most oppers, even at a pro level, tried not to rely on their close-range performance with the op, Wardell being the obvious exception. With the release of patch 1.09, we didn't just see direct nerfs to the operator, we also saw some pretty big indirect nerfs. With the change to accuracy of all weapons while jumping being decreased and slightly more inaccurate, no weapon suffered more from this than the op. A common strategy to try and get around other oppers, or simply a way to throw off your opponent's aim, was to jump peek into them with a scoped-in op. This new change removes a lot of the reliability of that strategy, and we may actually see the operator becoming more powerful than we thought at close-range angles. Since now it takes longer to become accurate after jumping, this gives the player holding the angle, whether it be with an op or a rifle, a decent amount of time to react to the jumping player and take a shot at them. However, for right now, this is only a theory, and we're going to have to keep an eye on the operator to see how it performs. We can say for sure, though, that this change will affect high tiers of play, including pro play. As we've mentioned before in our other operator videos, one of the main concerns with the operator was simply just how few answers there was to the weapon. While nerfing the gun is certainly a way to bring its power in line, I personally would have liked to have seen another solution to deal with the operator be presented if one option is being taken away. As we just talked about previously, there are going to be a lot of changes in how we deal with operators in our games and how we decide to pick up and use the weapon. Sure, its primary role hasn't changed. It is still great at removing enemies from the round and is still very viable. However, we need to take a look at some of the things that have changed and clue you guys into what you should be looking out for in your ranked games this patch. With Jett's ultimate also getting nerfed in this patch, you can actually expect to see a lot more Jett players picking up the operator instead of saving money by using their Blade Storm. Speaking of Jett, she is now undoubtedly the best agent in the game to use an operator with. Since she has the fastest mobility in the game, she's able to deal with the operator's slower scoped movement speed by either dashing or using her updraft to get out of sticky situations. This isn't to say that other agents can't use the operator, but simply that Jett will probably be the most effective with it. Coupled with her ability to smoke off angles that she doesn't want to deal with, and the operator becomes a very scary weapon once more. But let's say it's not in the hands of a Jett and you still need to deal with an operator. What are your options? First and foremost, utility will always work when dealing with an operator, but with the op's newest changes, there are some other ways you can deal with an opper. The first thing to be aware of is that the op is slower in almost every regard now, from shooting to scoping to moving. So that means you will have more time in between shots or in between peaks to do something. If you see your teammate die and you know you can quickly get on top of the player with the operator, now you can do so without as much fear of just getting blasted in the face. So playing aggressively when close to an enemy operator is definitely a viable option. You can also take advantage of the operator's slower scoped movement speed and try and challenge an operator player with a Guardian or Marshal a bit more reliably now. While these weapons were always good when dealing with the op, now they will be a bit more impactful, and honestly, this might all be part of Riot's master plan to get us to use the Guardian more. Either way, the single most important thing to keep in mind is that the operator is still the operator. Even with these changes, the operator is most likely still going to be a beast on the battlefield and is a weapon that you still need to respect. You can't just rush headlong into a corridor expecting the op to just deal 50 damage on a body shot, so care is still required to get the gun out of enemy hands. One thing about the operator that I'm sure we are all happy to hopefully see less of is multiple operators on defense. Now that the price of the operator has been upped by 500 credits, it will hopefully discourage people from buying 2, 3, or even 4 operators when you have the cash. That 500 credits is the cost of some agent's whole utility set, and is definitely not a small increase in price. If you have 9,000 credits in ranked and you are looking for a purchase, sure, an operator might make sense. But if you're trying to decide between a rifle, shields, and ability, or an operator, you should most likely stick with the rifle. Today we covered a lot, and that is because a lot has been changing with Valorant this patch. The operator was one of the weapons that almost seemed to define Valorant and how it was played, simply due to how impactful it really was. Now that we have this toned-down version of the operator, hopefully we will start to see more agents or playstyles be viable, and some more creativity coming back in Valorant. That being said, there will be players who are seemingly left without a home due to these changes, and it will be interesting to see how this new op gets adapted into the meta. If you were looking for a time to try and pick up the op, now is probably the best time, as weird as it might sound. We need people practicing and using this new operator to see what it's really capable of and how well it can synergize with other agents. With Act 3 right around the corner as well, this could be hinting at some bigger changes coming to Valorant. Maybe part of the reason that Riot felt the need to nerf the operator now was because they were going to be adding a new agent that they knew wouldn't be able to counter it, which the community would not have been happy with. However, with this leak about the next agent's potential ultimate ability being stealth or invisibility related, who knows what Riot has in store for us. One thing is for sure though, the operator just lost a lot of its power, and something is going to have to fill that power gap. We could be looking at the next stage in Valorant's path toward becoming a legendary game. Alright guys, unfortunately that is all we have for you today. If you did enjoy the video, then be sure to drop a like and maybe even consider subscribing. We put out new educational videos like this one every single day, so you definitely don't want to miss out. Ringing that notification bell is the best way to stay updated whenever we upload. Remember to stay safe out there, and I'll see you all again in the next one.